Welcome to Global Innovation. I'm your host, Chris Graham. Our focus today is on San Leandro, a suburban city of 90,000 located on the eastern shore of the San Francisco Bay, between Oakland to the north and San Jose to the south. Historically known as the home of many food processing operations and as for its proximity to the Oakland International Airport, over the last 10 years, San Leandro has aggressively sought to expand its technology base and workforce. On our show today, we welcome Deborah Acosta, San Leandro's Chief Innovation Officer, along with its Economic Development Manager, Katie Bowman, who will fill us in on San Leandro Next and its newly developed Connected Technology Park. So welcome to our show, and
thank you.
We're very interested to hear about San Leandro. So tell me, what is San Leandro? You know, we know that it's been part of the vibrant Bay Area scene for a long time, but it's changed. So tell us about San Leandro and what's happening there. Either one of you.
Well, let me take this on since I've been kind of there when the change really started to take place. This actually really started with our city councils back in the early 2000s. I mean, they pictured when they're through their general plan process or the planning, what do we want to be when we grow up? They actually decided that, look, we're part of the Bay Area. Technology is a huge part of how the Bay Area is creating wealth for its citizens, is creating job opportunities. We want to be part of it. So they created that as part of that intention, as part of the general plan. And there it kind of sat. And then 2008 happened, and then that happened, and there was no money to do anything. But meanwhile, they were laying the seeds for innovation. So in 2011, the city struck a deal with one of our best known corporate citizens, Dr. Patrick Kennedy, the CEO of OSI Soft, our largest tech company with over 1,500 employees worldwide. He needed to get to the cloud with his Pi software. He needed to be able to get to it fast through fiber optics, and that was not an asset that was available in San Leandro through the normal ISP providers, the usual ISP providers. So we struck a deal. The city of San Leandro and the city council said, okay, Pat Kennedy, we're going to partner with you. We're going to build a 10 gigabit per second fiber optic loop in the city's existing conduit. You're going to pull the fiber, you're going to create a business, which they eventually called Lit San Leandro. And that fiber optic infrastructure, along with grant funding from the Economic Development Agency in Washington, D.C., has now built a 20-mile fiber optic infrastructure. What does that mean? It means that we now can access the internet as fast as anybody commercially available in the United States, anywhere. That actually gives us a big distinct advantage in the age of technology and what we call smart cities, fast data processing. It's kind of changed how San Leandro looks at itself. So that really was very intentional by our city fathers and mothers, and then good stroke of having a great corporate citizen, Dr. Patrick Kennedy, and here we are, a city that's no longer a suburb, but a city that's developing distinct urban characteristics.
And is that creating a transition away from the historical industrial base in San Leandro to a new class of corporate community and growth?
So,
I mean, I would say not at all, actually. San Leandro is really a community that's proud to be a place where we still make things and really have a great strategic location for manufacturing, great infrastructure for manufacturing, close to the port, to the airport, to the Oakland airport, as well as multiple interstates. And so we have a very strong manufacturing sector, and the community has taken some strong steps to support that manufacturing, maintaining 25% of our land is still manufacturing. We have very low vacancy rates and a number of international companies that are doing some really advanced work in the city, and many of them have evolved over 50 years from more traditional manufacturing to now advanced manufacturing. Right. We have a number of new startup companies coming as well, and through some policy decisions the city has really been supporting that, beginning with our next generation workplace study, looking at how can we encourage value-added companies in our manufacturing area. Can we make it an area where the next generation of workers and companies will want to locate? And so we've done a number of things for that to go forward and support that.
Well,
So
tell me, before you do,
Yeah.
tell me about the next generation workplace study and this whole concept of San Leandro Next.
Sure.
So the next generation workplace district study was really about engaging that manufacturing sector in the new San Leandro. So it's like we have this fiber optic infrastructure that's now happening. What does that mean for the industrial area? And what does it mean for a whole new generation of millennials that are coming along that have been very clear? They work differently than our generation did. They're really not interested in having a job for the sake of having a job. They want it to mean something. They also want to be in a place that's cool, that's fun. If you think about San Francisco's success in attracting a certain kind of talent pipeline, and more recently Oakland's, it's about because it's kind of fun to be there. Not only it's fun to be there because there's places to eat, there's places to drink, there's places to play, and it's all mixed up with each other. You can live, work, and play in the same area. So that's what we're talking about. So the next generation workplace district is, okay, when we first created this, working was separate from living and playing. Today that's not true anymore. So the next generation workplace district was about how do we engage the new generation of makers and potential talent pipeline to want to come and work in what we think and we know is still a very cool way of making a living. I mean, to be able to come out several hours later after a concept and be able to hold something in your hand, it's very powerful. Any of us who are parents who ever sent our children out to make mud pies know that, right? You come back and look, Mom, what I did. Well, it's coming back. So manufacturing, we now understand, really is the core of creativity. So it's time. So we're structuring our city to attract those new manufacturers, those new makers. Katie can tell you about some of the amazing food bioscience that we've got coming into San Leandro. So the next generation of who wants to be making food, we're growing it small at a place called The Gate. And as they start to grow out, we're growing new manufacturing spaces and places for them to be and creating an ecosystem to support all of it.
Yeah, and a number of practical placemaking things that we've been doing in the industrial area. So we've been encouraging breweries. We have 3 great breweries, 21st Amendment, Drake's, who's been there for 26 years, and in San Leandro and Cleophas Quealy, a new custom brewer. And so a lot of placemaking. They're a great place to be, a great place to work, doing a number of infrastructure things, streetscaping, and working on some other projects to bring more food to the area and more
murals.
Excitement. Yes, so
we're doing a pop-up shipping container thingy on Doolittle, on an area that mostly you see big trucks going by, right? And maybe the residents who live off of Marina. But there's no food and stuff there. So what do? We get creative. We build a shipping container destination park where we're going to have a little bit of place for entertainment, where there's coffee. There's probably going to be some San Leandro beer served there, probably some food, but a place where people can it's a destination not only for the people within the industrial area, but also for the people in San Leandro who many of whom probably never have had a reason to go into our industrial area. We want to break down those barriers. We want to have a place where people can feel free to come into the industrial area and maybe create some cool things. Like the art, Katie's department has really done some terrific work on creating huge murals. One in particular I love because this artist took pictures of individuals working in our industrial area and he painted them way bigger than life size on a huge wall. So really celebrating not only the things that are made there, but the people who make them. That's really the direction that we're going in. And then tell them about San Leandro Next and what we do with that.
So San Leandro Next is our blog, and it focuses on economic development and innovation. And that's really the center of telling our story and sharing all of the great things going on in San Leandro. We have a number of other social media platforms that come off of that, but with the blog, it's a great opportunity to learn about all the new things coming to San Leandro, hear about some of the longer standing businesses that are doing amazing things. We always have businesses in the news, winning awards, things like that. And so we highlight our top businesses. We highlight upcoming developments. It's a great way to get in the know. And we highlight exciting restaurants and things that both our residents and our businesses would be interested in. And we try to make it the one-stop shop for people to see what we have going on and get as excited about the community as we are.
Right.
And so,
because it's about an ecosystem. The collaboration that you see here between Katie and myself it's emblematic of how we're doing this in San Leandro. We collaborate. We figure out what are the dots that need to be connected. What is that ecosystem that defines San Leandro and makes us special? And frankly, we pop out in the entirety of the Bay Area. One of the reasons is because we've kind of been secluded for so long, but we have a real family ethos in San Leandro. So what we were discovering now is with the young people that are moving into San Leandro and buying the homes that are there, they are the techies. They're the techies that have families because they're looking for a place that has their value system where they can raise their children connected to the technology, but more importantly, connected to each other and connected to families. So we're in that wonderful sweet spot right now in San Leandro where we're a place of discovery and we're also a place that families are learning that they can come here and be a part of the Bay Area and not be chased out, because it's very difficult to raise a family, even if you can afford it in San Francisco or even Oakland. But San Leandro, they're discovering, is a city that, by the way, all of our schools are connected to a 10 gigabit per second fiber optic link. So all of our schools are even connected, which means they have the opportunity now to explore entrepreneurship and what they can do to connect with the great businesses that are in the community. So lots of things happening, lots of connections being made between our schools, between our businesses, and again, it's the ecosystem. And that's what we really pride ourselves in San Leandro that sets us apart, I think, from other communities.
So as you bring in more jobs, you have a better tax base, but then you create a problem with the job housing imbalance. And so I'd like you to speak to how you perceive the job housing imbalance in San Leandro now and where it's going as you continue to have success in bringing in manufacturing jobs or other jobs to the area.
Right.
yeah, so as a part of our transit-oriented development plan for the downtown area, we're really encouraging a lot of new housing in our downtown area. And we know that, affordability-wise and demand-wise, people are looking for smaller units or open to smaller units, and so really promoting a lot of denser development in our downtown mixed use. The transit-oriented development plan approved or laid out a pathway for over 3,000 units of housing in the downtown area. We are expecting in the next several years about 1,500 new units in the city overall.
Meanwhile, this is a city that hasn't had new construction up until Maria Alta for 30 years, right? So it's important to say the city has really opened itself up to this concept of dense housing, transit-oriented development.
Yeah, and so following the transit-oriented development plan in 2007, just in 2016, the city finalized its 2035 general plan and accompanying zoning updates, which allow for increased density in the downtown area. So really codifying what we're looking for, decreasing some of the barriers for developers to come in and build more housing. We mainly have infill sites available, so smaller sites, it may be vacant, there may be a building there, but looking to increase value for the highest and best use on these properties. And we have great locations around the BART station. The downtown, we have 2 BART stations, the downtown BART station, and are also working on a new transit-oriented development study around our Bayfair BART station at the Bayfair Mall area. And that, over the next years, will hold an even larger opportunity for additional housing, ranging from existing BART lots, parking lots that can be converted to parking and housing or office.
Right.
And that's really going to be an area. As time goes by, people need to be by transit, they need to be closer into where the jobs are. And for that jobs housing balance, we do also are really promoting offices by the BART. So we have the San Leandro Tech Campus, which is a new development. It'll be over 500,000 square feet of new offices, of course, connected to the lit San Leandro loop.
Right.
Tech-focused offices. The first building is complete. Second building will be breaking ground here very shortly. And that is a great example of, like you said, looking for that balance, looking for both jobs and housing in our community to provide those opportunities. We and will continue to promote that in the long term in the Bayfair area to look for additional office opportunities there as the traditional mall layout changes and people are looking for something different to really maximize use of our space.
Right. And we're looking at smart city design. So because we have a fiber optic loop, it means that San Leandro can look to the future. What does it mean when you're a city planner and you're thinking about smart cars, right, or self-driving cars? What does it mean about maximizing public transportation so that it's easier and faster for for people to use public transportation? So this is about, not only do we want people to move into our downtown and densify that core, we don't want them to have cars, unless they really have to, of course. We're not going to take their cars away from them. But we want it to be easier to get around, to live, work, play. Only 11% of San Leandro residents actually work in San Leandro. This number is actually higher than most of the cities around us. What's wrong with this picture? We all need to be focused in creating housing next to workplaces so people don't even have to get in their cars, so that we can start to minimize the impacts of all this dense living that we're doing here and getting people out of cars. So we have the opportunity with these new developments, and we also have a brand new development down at the marina, one of the last shorelines in the Bay Area to be developed, to create smart cities. So what does it mean when when things are attached to technology, how does that help us increase our quality of life and provide better services for our residents? So these are some of the opportunities we're looking at that really help to set us apart from maybe some of the other development that's happening in the Bay Area.
Well, a lot of exciting things you're talking about, but every story has the other side, and that is the challenges you face. So tell me about some of the challenges or controversies that, if not existing now, have been identified that have to be dealt with over the next 5 years. An interesting controversy that became a really kind of a litmus test for how much does San Leandro know about how much is changing is this wonderful statue that came to the tech campus, was purchased by the developers, Westlake Urban and Dr. Patrick Kennedy, who are the developers of the tech campus. A beautiful statue, 55 feet tall, made out of 13,000 pounds of stainless steel mesh, lit up by 2,500 LED lights. Anyone who goes to the downtown San Leandro BART station today can see her between the tech campus and the BART platform. Her name is Truth is Beauty, and she's one of 3 sculptures by the artist Marco Cochran. The messaging behind all 3 statues is, what would the world be like if women were safe? This particular beautiful statue is clearly not wearing clothes. So she's in a beautiful, empowered pose that says, hey, what would the world be like if women were safe? They would be oblivious to the world around them. They would feel safe in their skin. They would be connected to the earth, to the sky. So it was a very powerful message. And it was first discussed when it was first announced that she would be coming to San Leandro. There was much concern by the residents. Was she appropriate? And I think especially for some of the older San Leandro residents who just were not clear that this was appropriate. Today she's here. October we dedicated her. She's up. And I think she's now seen as a very proud emblem of San Leandro's transformation. So this is an example of the things that, it's a process that we're going through. The challenges, again, going back to the housing, how do we make sure that the people that are in San Leandro today, that they're enjoying the benefits of what we're creating?
Yeah, and as she mentioned, so the housing challenge that all communities in the Bay Area face will really be a large challenge for us going forward, and seeing how we can balance the need for more housing and more density with the wants and desires of existing residents, and so building that housing and making sure that it's sensitive. And then assuring that affordable housing is built as well, and that existing owners and renters get some support as well. And so that's why we're looking for expanded opportunities at areas like the Bayfair area, as well as she had mentioned, so at our shoreline, there's a 75-acre development, the Monarch Bay shoreline development that has been in the works or in discussion for over a decade, and finally will be coming to fruition. And that will look at bringing over 350 housing units there.
And a new hotel.
Yes.
And a brand new hotel on the waterfront.
Yes.
That's great.
Yes, of mixed types. We do, work to bring more housing to address the housing challenges. We do see that as a strategy to help the market and of differing types. And so we're looking to encourage diversity of housing. And like we said, some of it may be through smaller projects that are sensitive to the area and sensitive to the community. And so there's varying sizes.
Encouraging in-law units. The state now says that we have to let them in anyway if it makes sense within our permits. So it makes sense with some of our large San Leandro single-family house estates. Really, frankly, they have large backyards. Allow them to put in a second housing unit so that we can fit more people into our area.
Is there a preservationist contingent within the community that is pushing back against this increased development, this rush towards, this movement towards making San Leandro less of a suburban and more of a multifaceted city?
There is some concerns, especially in some of the single-family neighborhoods, that as they see the more dense nature encroaching in upon them. There was a recent request for a new building to be put on adjacent to our junior high school, one of our middle schools, and it was right up against a single-family neighborhood. And there was concerns from the neighborhood to have such a large building suddenly imposed upon them. What Katie and I know is that density is going to lead to the restaurants that they want to come to San Leandro. It isn't going to happen any other way. As we have more people in our downtown core, the kinds of cool new restaurants that we already see coming, like Sons of Liberty, as that happens, then and there are people that can walk to the restaurants that are living close by, it's going to happen. So people just have to see the balance of what happens. You can't get a Trader Joe's into San Leandro if you're not going to allow people to live in the downtown. Those are the trade-offs that people are starting to understand that. So yeah, there's a balance that has to happen, and we do have to respect the really unique character of some of our wonderful single-family home neighborhoods. And at the same time, they're learning to squeeze a little bit too.
Well, you also have a large city to the immediate north of you, Oakland. And I would imagine there's a number of benefits to having a large neighbor like that, but there must also be some areas where there can be difficulties in making sure that you aren't overlooked or overpowered. How is that relationship?
With the city of Oakland, or just with other cities around us in general?
Primarily Oakland, but other cities around you.
Want me to tackle that?
Sure.
Only because I lived in Oakland, worked in Oakland for many years, so I'm very aware. It can be a challenge. I think East Oakland, which borders up against San Leandro, has struggled for many years to kind of figure out, they lost their industrial jobs, not similarly to San Leandro, because we didn't really lose it in the same way. Their space, their real estate was so old that the jobs left and nothing ever came back. So there's a lot of reasons for it. But we also look to find ways to partner. So we really have supported Oakland in terms of the sports teams staying. Of course, it hasn't necessarily all worked out. We certainly hope the A's will continue to stay. And at the same time, we're working on other projects like the bus rapid transit that connects Oakland very directly with downtown San Leandro. So there's a brand new smart bus system that's going to go in, buses every 7 minutes that will connect from downtown Oakland to our San Leandro BART station. So not only will this be a system that allows people to go faster between the two cities, But it also stretches along East 14th Street, which has been neglected in Oakland for many years. So it can give Oakland the opportunity to do development around the new BRT nodes, as San Leandro has done with our 2 BART stations. We're also getting a gift of 144 strands of fiber optics each. That means that Oakland now has 144 strands of fiber optics that goes right down the heart of their city into San Leandro. How can we partner? And we talk about this. How do we partner once it's activated so we can help Oakland, teach Oakland what we're doing, and maybe share resources to help overcome some of the economic fragility that is in East Oakland, because that can only benefit San Leandro. We definitely want closer relationships, yes.
Yeah, and part of what we do, see, we're different communities, and we highlight what our strengths are and what we have to offer. And so there are different things that San Leandro has that are positive in that way. And so some of the benefits of being a smaller community, we are able to offer. Great customer service, it's really lowering the barriers to development and lowering bureaucracy and politics. And so we have a really great location, as I mentioned, next to all of the amenities, the Port of Oakland, Oakland Airport, 880, 580.
And the Oakland Zoo. We're closer to both the airport and the zoo than Oakland is.
Yes, so it's just different. It's different. And so places that are looking for, it's in most areas it's more relatively affordable in San Leandro, so a great place to get started and then to continue to grow. And in the manufacturing sector is really, really strong, and so they're able to utilize all of the business-to-business connections that they can get here, as well as connect with any of the industrial businesses in Oakland as well.
Right.
So businesses don't see the barriers as much, and so they're mostly interested in location,
right,
and services and amenities.
And we have seen a great influx, especially of food manufacturers from other cities in the East Bay, simply because we have this great space. And we should mention we have 1 million square feet of brand new manufacturing space, either under construction, almost finished, or entitled and going through that process. That is not happening anywhere else in the Bay Area that we're aware of. So infill development, old blighted buildings being taken down, and brand new ones.
A great location for hardware startups.
Yes, absolutely. Great location for hardware. And that's what we hope to happen. So we have a accelerator called The Gate, which used to be a former Dodge Chrysler auto plant. Today that is filled with makers, everything from battery storage, energy systems, food science, food tech companies, software tech. As they grow, we want to make sure we have new space for them to move into. And right now we're at about a 96% occupancy rate in our industrial area and our office space, so we really need to build.
Well, I'm going to make sure that we bring you back, but our next time we have you on the show, we're going to have it at one of those San Leandro breweries.
There you go.
Do it.
So,
Guarantee.
But one thing about San Leandro, high on the list when I visited, was the weather is just absolutely beautiful there. So it's interesting how the East Bay has really beautiful weather.
And we should mention that we're equidistant from San Francisco and Silicon Valley, about 25 minutes each way. So we literally are in the center of the Bay Area. And considering that making things is coming back, we're in a real sweet spot.
Well, you can see why San Leandro is really an up-and-coming place to be. It sounds like all of us should get out there as soon as we can, at least to meet me at the brewery. This has been Global Innovation. I'm your host, Chris Graham. Thank you for joining us.